You gonna look at the camera?
What up, what up, what up? It's your boy Earon Bevans. I'm here with Jesse Burrell and the one and only Mr. RJ Bates.
What's up?
What's good, fellas?
What's going on, baby?
Nothing much. So what are we talking about? What are we doing? And how are we going to provide value for people today, y'all?
Dude, let's just let's do a live Q&A. I think that's what we put in the description. So I say let's help people. Let's give them some good advice on people that have done a bunch of deals. All three of us have done quite a few. So I think we got a lot of value that we could add to everybody.
Cool. So first and foremost, before everybody starts asking, because I know it's going to be a major question, why in the world do we all have big B's on our shirts?
Well, both of us are just big guys. So.
This stands for Bevans, y'all, just so y'all know. No, we are currently collaborating on some pretty major moves with Batch Leads, Batch Skip Tracing, the entire Batch brand. Obviously, RJ is a major Batch advocate. I'm a huge Batch advocate, as y'all know, just because we use it in our business and we found success with Batch in our business. And so we're here in Phoenix, Arizona with the one and only Mr. Jesse Burrell. So we just want y'all to know that, because I know that question is going to come in like crazy. So before we hop into Q&A, we let the algorithms get super flooded right now. Let's talk about some of the things y'all have accomplished in business, man.
Well, my biggest accomplishment for sure is being friends with the two of you. So, I'm very thankful. My business wouldn't be where it would be without people like you guys, to be completely honest with you. I've always been about collaborating, helping, learning, and, Batch just kind of took a mind of its own, to be honest with you guys. And I mean, you've known us basically since the beginning. You completely disregarded me the first time you met me. But, we've got to make great relationships. We've been, wholesaling for the last 5 years. So I was in some pretty big masterminds, and then we started seeing a need in the market. And luckily, I have two amazing business partners, because I could think up some of the ideas, and there's no fucking way I would know where to start, to get the product to where it is today. That's Evo and then Annie. Doing a ton of that work on the back end.
That's awesome, man. So you had mentioned a couple of things that we've discussed that you've accomplished in this business, which is pretty crazy. I mean, you got a multi-unit joint that you're building. You got a small subdivision that you're building. You've done multiple fix and flips. Talk to us a little bit about that, man. That's pretty intense.
I don't want to sit here and talk about myself, but yeah, I've done a handful of flips, as in like 100.
Just a few.
Yeah, man, I've just been thankful and grateful to learn. And, I think me and you could say this, we've learned from mistakes. And that's where I really try and give back now, is I want to teach people what not to do, because I burnt up a lot of money, in, marketing. We were going heavy on direct mail for a long time. Not saying it's bad, but that was like our only source when we started. And it was hard to get deals. It's just different. When I started 5-6 years ago, there was like Sean Terry, Kent Clothier, and you didn't have the wealth of information. You had to pay a lot of money for a course. You didn't have all the YouTube channels, all the podcasts, all the shit that y'all are doing to make sure that people could fast track to be a successful wholesaler fix and flipping operation quickly. Like that's just that wasn't possible then. And so I like to give back too on all the stuff that I've learned not to do. Instead of telling you what to do, I'd rather tell you what not to do, I guess.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Those of you who are in the Superhuman Batch Mastermind know that how much this guy gives. Jesse came on, and it wasn't even scheduled, and just started dropping massive nuggets on everybody. That was insane. And so in case you're living under a rock, RJ, can you just explain to those who don't know who you are, what you've accomplished in business? This is your license to brag, man, because I want people to know like the stature of individuals that are
license to brag. That's so against everything. I'm such a humble person. Right?
Humility.
My humility.
Yeah.
We've bought and sold a little bit over $100 million worth of real estate. I don't know how many deals it is. It's pretty close to 1,000. We've done really great at certain times. We've really sucked at other times. Jesse and I were just talking about this. He said that's one of the things he loves about us is that we go out and we take massive action. We're willing to fail forward. You know, a lot of people use that, but we've actually lived by that motto. So I love to get on here and just talk shop. You know, I mean, look at this point in time, I've done so many different videos and stuff like that. I mean, if you don't know my story and what we've done, go back and watch it. We just want to pour into you guys, answer some questions. You know, this is kind of an impromptu thing. We just want to come on here and add some content, talk shop like we are right now, just hanging out together and try to help everybody. So
I love it.
what about you, Mr. Bevans?
It's time for you to brag, baby.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I have very little to brag about.
You're a professional bodybuilder.
I was a physique athlete, so completely different. But
It's pretty close.
yeah, close enough.
So you look good, but you weren't good at sports.
Yeah. It was all for show, man. It was all for show. Nothing to see here, yo.
You were an eyebrow model.
Want to be eyebrow model.
Let's talk about your real estate experience. Like, you were one of those dudes that really came on the scene strong. I think you said last year was your first year and you did $500,000 in assignments. That's nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah.
That's something to be proud of. And then you decide to say, hey, I did great. I got to learn all this great stuff. I get to be around all these people that have done a bunch of deals. And then you pour into fucking everybody like no one else does. Incredible, bro.
Yeah, it's a blast, man. It's a blast. I think the biggest accomplishment thus far is the community that's been built among the superhumans. You know, they are an incredible group of people, and they are not only the mission whenever creating that group was to help as many people hit their first 6 figures as humanly possible. And we've been doing it now for a little over 6 months, and we have about 10, 12 people who are on the verge of hitting their first 6 figures. You know what I mean? So, I mean, the amount of success we're having with that is exciting. So shout out to the superhumans. Y'all are amazing, amazing people.
You got Chris in here talking about you've got an army behind you. I mean, and the thing about it is, and look, everybody that's in the superhuman sees me posting in there. I enjoy the vibe that you've got going on in there. I've got my own group. I actually post more in your group now than I do my own group. And part of that is around the culture that you have there. I have fun posting in your group. Like, I think that's a massive difference than the culture of some of these groups. Some of these groups are around, of course, knowledge and education, but yours is also around having this family atmosphere. Accountability, but also just enjoying each other and lifting each other up, which is so rare. Everybody talks about it, but very few people actually live that. And that's something you've created, man. And like Jesse said, at a very early point in your rise in your career, kudos to you for what you've been able to create with the superhumans.
What I don't think people understand either, before we get into this Q&A, is you're still building your company and getting to where you want to go. Yet you're so selfless. You're pouring your time and energy that you could be focusing on making yourself more money. Instead, you're trying to help make other people more money. And I think that's just a testament to the type of person that you are. So I think it's pretty incredible what you're doing, bro.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Shout out to these killers that are on here. Let's jump into some Q&A. There are right now 35 people live.
Let's share this. Let's get some people on.
Exactly. So here's what I need for all 35 of you that are live right now to do, okay? We want as many people as humanly possible to get all the crazy amounts of value that we're going to be providing with everybody. Please do me a favor. Smash the heart button a million bajillion times. Share this out to every group. Share this out to your timeline. Share this out. And then tag people in this so that we can get as many people here as possible. That way we can answer y'all's questions and make sure we add some value to y'all, all right? So with that said, let's give some shout outs to some of the people that are in here.
Look what JJ said.
He says, I love all three of y'all. I'm closing a batch skip trace lead Wednesday.
Let's go.
Famo. Houston in the building, H-Town. Hey, JJ, is that a Houston deal, bro? Tell us a little bit about it. How much are you making on it? How long have you had that?
What lead source?
What lead source was it? That way other people who have not done a deal can kind of have some insight into what you got going on. What we want y'all to do is post questions in the comment section. That way we can ask them to the guys with the expertise, and we can get some knowledge and value bombs on y'all. Maybe we can expound and this can be a major impact on somebody's life. So here's what Michael Fitchman says. What are ways to help increase a seller's urgency when they are stuck? So what would y'all say? Y'all have closed hundreds and hundreds of deals, made millions of dollars in the business. I mean, what are some ways to help increase a seller's urgency?
Yeah, I'll start off with that. I mean, first and foremost, if a lead is not going somewhere, there's a point in time where you kind of have to cut bait with it, right? So we're trying to go after a motivated seller, right? And so if they're stuck, it's either are they stuck because they're not motivated, or are they stuck because you haven't solved their problem yet. So there's two different reasons why they could be stuck there, right? And if it's not because they're not motivated, then you have to keep finding, first and foremost.
What's a tip that you could do to find out if they're motivated? Because I see a lot of people having that problem, especially when you get started. You get someone that says they're interested, and you'll try and milk that to the very end,
right,
when that's not necessarily a lead. Like, so give the audience a good way to find out if you should move on from the lead, or if you should re-engage them to figure out if you can get a deal.
Well, if you're using batch leads, you should be able to go back and find out what list they were on, right? And what motivation how did they even end up in your marketing channel,
correct,
right?
Yep.
And so you're going to know, are they a pre-foreclosure, a probate, unwanted inherited? What is this lead? And then at that point in time, you have to just kind of, at times, just be frank. Are you motivated because of this reason? And if they say no, then that's where you're kind of at a dead end. And I feel like it's time to move on. I mean, look, a lot of us in the Closers Olympics, when we were doing that, I mean, we kind of had to make that decision very early on and quickly, and on it, it's no different on a day-to-day basis. I mean, you don't want to waste an hour on the phone with a seller if it's not going anywhere, if they're not motivated. Say they are on a pre-foreclosure list and you are talking to them and they are quote unquote stuck. Keep asking questions on what do you need to do to make the deal happen? And if they're not giving anything to you, I would move on. But if they are, try to solve those ulterior motives that they might have.
Yeah, I love it. That's the biggest thing that I would say, Michael, is ask questions, bro. I mean, oftentimes I think that as rookie wholesalers, what we assume is whoever is talking the most is controlling the conversation, and we hate silence, right? That's like the rookie wholesaler's biggest kryptonite. But I would recommend, Michael, embrace the silence, that awkwardness, right? That means after you ask a question, avoid the urge to fill in that silence with another explanation. Like, ask a question and then shut your face until the person answers the question. And if they just have no answer at all, then ask another question. That's going to allow you to control the conversation. And like RJ says, it's going to allow you to gather as much intel as humanly possible, that you say, boom, that's what's going to be the key right there. I can push that button right there, and I can get them to sign a contract with me and move forward.
Let me tell you the best way that you can do that. If the awkward silence it's very difficult for people right off the bat, yep, right? Mm-hmm. They don't like it. And that's why it's a good thing for you to do, because they don't like it either, right? So they're going to fill that gap by talking. So the best way to do that is by saying, hold on, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. I'm looking at comps in the area. I'm looking up at these numbers right now, and just kind of sit there while you're analyzing the property.
I'll start telling you about it.
They will just start rambling. Well, let me tell you about this one time. We've got this roof problem, and man, that's been a real huge headache. And it's like, oh, okay, roof problem. And then you just maybe say something in response to it, and then they just keep talking and keep talking. And you're absolutely right. Just sit there and listen, and don't interrupt them. Just let them keep talking.
Yeah, I want to elaborate further, a little bit further onto it. Is if you can't find their problem that you could solve, then you're not going to be able to close the deal either. Because like our job is, we're dealing with people that are in, a lot of the times, distress situations or an urgent situation to where they just don't want to deal with. So for example, there's this one time I had to price drop somebody because the edition was funky. And I literally had to tell him, and it was like a $6,000 price drop. Dude's just an asshole. And I was making $4,000 on the wholesale. Like I was negative at the time. I'm like, well, I'd rather him not have to like lose the property. I got to make a couple bucks. This is what we're going to do.
Sorry, go ahead.
So from there, I literally had to tell him the price drop. And I looked at my watch because it was 42 seconds till either of us spoke. You could hear him grunting and like sighing. But sometimes like that's what you have to do. That's not really an example of like solving someone's problem, but like for the silence part.
Yes.
And that 42 seconds felt like 17 minutes. I was like, I'm not going to say a fucking word. He could hang up on me. And he actually said, no, cancel the contract, and hung up on me. And he called me back 30 minutes later and said, fuck it, let's do it.
Yep. And that's what you have to do sometimes is
I was ready to walk away from the deal. And if you don't stand firm,
yep,
they'll understand that and they'll feel it.
Yeah. And understand that for every second that passes, how awkward it is for you, they're that much more motivated to talk to you and communicate their needs, or even eventually give in to whatever it is. You know, so
the house was a piece of shit. And like I know what he's thinking. He's like, fuck, do I just want to be done with this? We're closing in 5 days. Or does he want to go through the whole process again? I don't have to say anything else. He had to process. Me talking more is just going to make it worse, is my point.
Yeah, I love that.
Nina's got a good question.
All right. I love your question, Nina. And if you're tuning in right now, I need for you to do two things for me. I need for you to smash the like button, the heart button, if you're ready for this value that we got for you. And I need for you to share this out in as many places as humanly possible. And then here's a bonus right here. Ask your questions, put them in the comment section right now. That way we can add some value to you, and maybe we help you get to your next 6 figures in this business. All right. So Nina has a good question. She says, and also Michael Finch, if we did not answer your question or you had something else in mind, put a follow-up question in there, bro. That way we can expound on it. All right. But Nina has a good question. She says, what is your most responded to initial SMS message to a seller?
I'm guessing this is going to be me.
Yeah, that's definitely you.
Oh, wow. That's a great question. There's a lot of different markets. I get to obviously see a lot of data of who's sending text messages, what you're sending, what response rate's working. I'll share something that we personally have used in our business that's been successful is what's not successful anymore is that generic, hey, I'm looking to buy in your neighborhood. Are you looking to sell at 123 Main Street? Like there's a lot of people texting. You have to stand out from the others, and also you don't want to get flagged for spam. So a few things that have worked for us lately is, hey, first name. So you'll use the token for the first name, and you'll say, hey, I sent you a letter last week. You never responded. And then they'll be like, well, what letter? So it's a good way to get people engaged. You could do that with a voicemail. You could do that with a call. Say, hey, I left you a voicemail. You don't even have to mention the property or anything like that. Hey, I left you a voicemail. You could do some variations with properties and stuff like that. I never heard back from you. And they'll be like, well, what are you talking about? And then you're into the conversation. So those are some things that have been working for us.
Powerful, powerful. What do you find, man?
Well, I think it's important to understand that when you're asking, what is your most responded initial SMS to a seller? It sounds to me like you might not be using something like batch SMS, because we have at minimum 10 initial templates that we have to use.
Right.
So when you're talking about one, there is not one. We're talking about we're making 10, 15, 20 different templates that we're sending out, and we're constantly changing them because we don't want to send out so much that we become flagged and become spam, even though Batch does a great job of rotating the phone numbers, rotating the initial messages per phone number. That's the benefit of using something like Batch in comparison to like a Roar or Text Magic, something like that. So I don't view it as what is the one singular message that we're going to send that's going to work, because the point is that we're doing this in volume, we're doing this in batches, and that we're utilizing something that has taught us to be better than we were, 18, 24 months ago, when it was this one message is working. So that's the benefit of using something like batch.
I was just giving them something to put into their templates that I know that's working.
Right.
Yep. And RJ's response rates are so fire. He's just keeping on the shush right now.
So Nina says, I'm using batch and have 7 to 10 filled out. I can't think of 3 more. So Nina, I'm not gonna, I always hesitate to answer this question because I think that everybody should use their own creativity.
Yep.
And it's okay to just think of anything crazy or goofy, Nina. And then you never know how it's going to actually perform. But sometimes it may be good just to say, hey, such and such, how you been? Hey, such and such, what's going on? Hey, such and such, what's good? And
it's going to cost you a couple cents, but you're going to get people to respond back. So those are great to use for like a pre-foreclosure list to where you know there's some type of urgency,
right?
Or maybe even a vacant list. If a home is vacant, just getting them to respond, you know, if stuff gets flagged, then you're not reaching those people. So I think it's good to do on super niche lists, just not like a bigger broad list for what you're saying. But I agree. There, like me and so Ty Taylor, Ask Footman, shout out to you, great dude. He came in a couple weeks ago, and I helped him on all of his templates. And we just sat there and brainstormed, squat up, as Pace and Jamil would say, and start collaborating on some stuff. Maybe that, hey, what's working for you? What's going on? And kind of cross-pollinating some stuff that's working for each of you guys. And it's just testing. But yeah, you just have to kind of get creative. And you know, I'm looking up different variations of the same word to try and figure out a way to, because I like how the message is you know, framed, but you can't use that same word. So that's where those are some of the things that you could do to really try and get that text messaging to a whole nother level.
Well, let's talk about this because, you know, we come on here to answer people's questions, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times these questions are revolving around lead generation and marketing, right?
Mm-hmm.
As a wholesaler and a wholesaling company, you have to understand that you are a marketing company.
Facts.
Okay. And so in order to be at the top of your game, you're going to have to elevate your marketing. You're going to have to elevate your messages, not duplicate Aaron's, not duplicate mine. You know, so you're going to have to come up with originality, use your creativity, focus in on this. This is one of the most important things that you can do as a wholesaler is make yourself stand out, because no matter who you text, mail, cold call, whatever, someone else has probably already hit them or going to hit them. So what are you doing to make yourself stand out from the rest of the pack?
I love that. Yep.
Can you drop that?
Can I drop that?
Mike?
Can you take your mic and drop it, please? So hopefully, Nina, that answers some of your questions, or hopefully that answered your question. If not, Nina, make sure that you expound on that in the comment section. Okay. All right. So we have a bunch of people that are tuned on. What questions do you have in regards to business, in regards to marketing? Maybe it's partnerships. Maybe you have questions in regards to acquisitions, mindset, dispo, softwares, anything that we can provide value for, we'll do. While people are asking questions, I have some questions for y'all. All right. I have some questions that I want to get y'all's thoughts on. All right. So first question, this is something that I've been asking, and I'm buying y'all time right now. Okay. So we're going to provide value. While I buy y'all some time, we'll provide some value for you, because I want to keep up with all the questions that y'all have. What up, CJ? Chris Jefferson in the building.
What's up, Chris?
All right. So check this out. And shout out, just a couple shout outs. Shout out LaDante Love, Tisha and Charlie, Ray Navarez. What's good? Antonio Lamar in the building. Michael Lane, Jamie Duncan, Murtis, Anthony. What up, fam? Sean Burke, Nahum Guerrero. Smash the like button, put the heart button in there, smash the crying or angry button. I don't care, as long as you react. Chris Monroe, what's good? Kim Walker, say what's up to us, engage with us, ask some questions about business that will help you take it to the next level. All right, Robert, I'm going to answer your question right now, but I already started mine, so I'm going to ask mine first. So one of my entrepreneurial heroes is
RJ Bates.
No.
Facts.
Look at that smile, dude. Look at that. You guys just look at each other and I see all the googly eyes.
It is Patrick Bet-David, and Patrick Bet-David interviewed the author of the book Relentless. Author of the book Relentless is the gentleman who trained Kobe, Michael Jordan, Dwayne Wade. And he said he noticed that there are certain individuals that enter into the sports realm, but this translates beautifully into business. There's individuals that come into business and they're not only in business for the sake of, I'm going to come in and I'm going to be the best at playing this game. They say, no, this game will be played differently whenever I'm done with it. And I'm not gassing y'all up. These are facts right here based on y'all's stats, what y'all have done in the industry. RJ, God forbid, if you died today, right? Jesse, God forbid you died today. Y'all have changed this industry, the niche, and the way people view it and the way the game is played. His philosophy is every individual who comes in and changes an industry and the way it's viewed and played, they have a dark side to them. And he said the dark side is something that you don't talk about publicly. You don't go on, and this is not your social media. There's something in your brain that allows you to channel something inside you.
I talked about this to you last night.
Into fuel to accomplish incredible things. So how do y'all answer that question? Like, is there really a dark side? Do you have to channel anger and frustration and insecurities and things like that into this? Or is it just a matter of, hey, I don't feel like I have a dark side. I'm just an imperfect dude that goes out and crushes it every day. I mean, how do y'all answer that?
You go ahead.
I'll answer the question I don't want to say exactly where I go or why I go there.
Sure.
But yes, I have a place that I go, which came from not being believed in one part of my part of it was from people in high school. I didn't take the traditional route. So that's another part of it is the traditional route. And a lot of people are like, you're never going to do anything, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. And I still tap into that today. And I know that I'm successful now, but I still tap into that to drive me to be more successful. And I like to use people not believing in me for my motivation to keep pushing myself further and further, because I base it on fear too. It's like I'm scared to lose what I've got, and the fear of losing it, because I always think about there's someone else that is just as motivated, that's even hungrier, that hasn't got to where I've gotten yet. And if I don't tap into that, someone's going to be better than me. And that's something that I use quite a bit. I don't know if you have anything.
Powerful. What about you, bro?
No, yeah, I definitely have a dark side. It's something I've always had, to be honest with you. And I learned it early on playing sports. This is why I talk about playing sports so much in high school and after, high school and the college and stuff like that. I find that when I create stories and narratives in my head where people doubt me, that is the ultimate motivating factor for me. I am now able to accomplish things that I never thought I'd be able to accomplish. And there's not a victory for me. Like, there's never going to be a moment where I'm like, I've now won. I'm cool. I will stop. You and I talked about this last night. And that comes from my childhood. I've talked about some of these things, but my father and my mother, they both struggled with alcoholism when I was growing up. And there was definitely times where things were said that shouldn't have been said to me. And I remember writing those things down and saying, I'm going to prove that wrong, and seeing what I was able to accomplish then. Now, like going into the Closers Olympics, I watched a live where you were in Superhuman Group saying, I'm the underdog. I literally said, no, I'm the underdog. I'm not going to accept this. I literally told myself I'm the underdog. I had convinced myself that Steven Morales, Nick, Andy Garcia, Adrian, they all believed that I shouldn't be a part of the Closers Olympics. Not one of them had ever said that. They're the nicest people in the world. They're my brothers. But I thoroughly convinced myself, just straight up lied to myself. They're sitting there talking about me like I shouldn't be a part of this. Watch, I'm going to blow them away. Like, thoroughly convinced myself of that. And that is the dark side that you're talking about, where It's like no one knew that.
We gas ourselves up for no particular
Yeah,
reason.
Cassie didn't even know
I
it.
love that.
She didn't even know it.
Yeah.
She was literally looking at me before the first round of day one, like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "I'm so fucking focused. Like, I'm going to destroy this." And she's like, "Okay, calm down. Like, you're not about to go into a UFC fight." And I'm like, "No, but I had pumped myself up for a month straight and told myself all of these narratives that I knew that I was going to be able to be successful." So yes, I think, and that's a common trait that I've seen with a lot of people that have success.
Yeah.
I do that a lot, and then I think I wanted to elaborate a little bit further too on you, because I think you told me this. Correct me if I'm wrong, but when you were working, you're the manager for Pizza Hut or Papa John's or something. Didn't he say you never do shit?
Yeah.
You had one of them, because I remember that. It's not just proving someone wrong. It's not spiteful. It's just like, it's this fuel that just keeps motivating you. And you're right with the victories. I still haven't won.
Right.
I don't win until every single person uses batch.
Right.
Which will never happen.
Right.
So my point is I don't know. I lost my train.
There's still people skip tracing
there's
other
no
places.
Cap. Yeah, well, there's no cap. There's no cap, right? So when do you become satisfied? And I think that this is amazing for a lot of you who are watching this, newer ones, because you may be convincing yourself right now that the reason why you've been trying to wholesale for 6 months and haven't got your deal is because you don't have the support from your wife or your girlfriend or your mom or your dad. These guys have become successful to where their family members and people in their inner circle have no other reason but to believe them whenever they say something. And they're like, "No, screw that. There's somebody out there that still doesn't believe in me." My point is that if that actually is the case with you right now, because you did, to quote Biggie, you grew up a screw up, right? If that is the case, well then shoot, you should utilize that as fuel to go even harder, because that is what some of these people are trying to invent and concoct in their minds, right?
Well,
so I think that's a beautiful thing.
Ground Zero, right? You hosted it. Cassie and I are up speaking. I get told by one of my buddies, "Hey, so-and-so is here. Man, I heard them at the bar last night. They were totally trashing you guys, saying y'all shouldn't be up on stage because they know that you guys lost a bunch of money on a flip." Cool. You probably listened to my podcast where I admit I lost money on a flip. This isn't a secret, right? So literally I'm up on stage. No one noticed this, but I literally stared at that person 90% of the time I was speaking. Straight to him. Like, that's the dark side.
Yeah.
Nobody knew that. But I'm staring in this man's soul. Like, you do. I'm still up here.
Yeah.
And
if you're that man who's listening to this right now, it was not a coincidence. He really was staring at you.
So one more thing before we end this topic is I want people to know too. It took a while for me to get there. I was 29 years old and I never had more than $2,000 in my bank account.
Wow.
So for all you people that are just getting started, and this is 6 years later now, to where I have done hundreds and hundreds of wholesales, hundreds of flips. I own, I believe, one of the best data companies and services. And
you own the best.
Yes, okay. I do. But but we still have a long way to go and a lot to improve for data and services. But I'm telling you guys, it just starts with being around the right people, letting go of the negative people in your life. And I could tell you, I'm that person firsthand. To where, I mean, what, you're 29? Mm-hmm. When I was your age, you wouldn't even have talked to me. I had nothing. I was nothing. I didn't have the right mindset for it. So it doesn't matter where you guys are in your life. That's my whole point of this, is start now, put yourself around the right people, get rid of the wrong people, and sky's the limit. Like, I kid you not, I was that dude.
I love it. Let's get some more of y'all's questions. I need for y'all to do me a favor. We're going to do another wave of this, right? Because we might have some new people on here. I need for you to share this out to as many people as possible. Like, comment, throw your questions in the comment section. That way we can provide some value for you. So Robert Glenn Morrell Jr. says, "RJ, I'm trying to join your titanium group. For God's sakes, RJ, please let the guy in your titanium
will let him
group."
in.
All right, cool. All right. What up, Keith? Keith Everett Jr. in the building.
What's up, Keith?
Good to see you, my guy. Good to see you. All right. So Murtis says inner voices. Absolutely. Those inner voices, controlling that inner speech is a major thing. So here's what Scott Garcia wants to know. He says, "What is your superpower?" And I imagine he's talking about like, what's one of your strengths? What's one of the things you take pride in terms of a skill set or an ability?
Personally, for me, it's being able to establish relationships with people and find ways that we're going to win together. Titanium has been built on that foundation, and that's because it suits both mine and Cassie's personalities.
I hate to be boring, but I think a lot of CEOs and visionaries have the same traits for successful people. I'm right there with them, to be honest with you.
So,
I could use a different thing, but that's.
I mean, so expound on that though. Like what
Collaboration.
Yeah.
One of your skill sets is like what, the abundance mindset and being able to collaborate.
Oh yeah, I'll use you for an example. Okay.
We both can.
Exactly. The first time I ever really spoke to you was when you came on my podcast. I knew halfway through the podcast, I'm going to do stuff with Earon in the future. I know that you are going to change people's lives. I see something in you, and I know that I can add value to your life and you can add value to my life. I consider that a superpower, to be able to analyze that situation and not look at it and say, I like you, I think you're funny, so let's do business together. No, I know we can change other people's lives. We can change the trajectory of our business together. That's what I saw. And so now here we are looking at ways that we can do business together. You know, we're working some deals together, trying to dispose some different stuff. I mean, this is just us laying the foundation together. Jesse's a master at this. I mean, with Batch and the affiliates that he's got. I mean, the fact that he's got an office here with all these big players in it, using this studio. I mean, this is the foundation of how Batch has blown up over the past 12 months.
So it came from, I want to be around great people that push me to be better. So Brent Daniels is in our office, Pace Morby. I mean, Jamil basically has his own little office because he's here at least a few days a week with Keegley. Rafael Cortez, I have Chris Ontiveros, and all of us compete doing the same thing, but yet we all want to collaborate. And I always thought, you know, as tides rise, so do boats. So if everybody else is helping rising the tide, my boat's going to go with them. And I've always just been that way, is like pour into people to help me. I want to pour into helping people. And if I'm around those right people, and that has by far been what's changed my life in the last year and a half. And I always like to collaborate, but I really it clicked for me a couple of years ago when I was on my own, knowing that I couldn't just do it by myself. Like, I need help, and I think I could help people with stuff that I'm good at. And then at that time, it just helped my wholesale operation. And then with the products and services is, you know, I wanted to create something that was really incredible to help them with their businesses. And then in turn, they're helping their students. And then, you know, we all are winning together because, you know, they have people pay them money to say this is the best way to do things. And they're putting their trust in us. So I hold a big burden to myself, to where if our stuff isn't on point and they're promoting it, they put their trust in me. It is my duty to make sure that we are doing everything we can to make sure we're providing the best stuff.
We've got 2 questions on YouTube. Can I ask those real quick?
Yeah, go ahead and ask those.
All right. First, Michael says, prop stream leads seem like so many people are targeting in my market. Should I just bite the bullet and use list source? The price is way higher than the 10,000 leads you get with PropStream. So have you used PropStream?
I have, yep.
I use PropStream, but personally, I've used list source as well. I've used Propelio. Batch now has batch lists, correct?
Yep.
So explain the difference.
Can I take this question?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you.
So to be honest, who asked the question? Michael. So to be honest with you, is I think that you should find each service is going to have better than other services. So you need to test and find out, you know, PropStream may have this, it's really good. Batch may have this, it's really good. You should, and not just talking about list source. And list source will have stuff that other people don't have. So you should pick and choose where you could come from. But at the end of the day, the best lists come from the counties. That's where you could get code violations, water shutoffs, HOA liens. Yes, PropStream and Batch and ListSource could offer some of these, but when the only way to get something is if you have to walk your ass down and get it. Guess what? A lot less people are going to do that than pulling from Batch or PropStream or ListSource. That's my best advice to you: is find those really, really niche lists that you can't get on the internet.
Yeah.
So a follow-up question to that is, what is the best way to rehash your campaigns in Batch? How often should you rehash them? And what are the benefits of using tags?
So I'm not going to go into technical questions on Batch for Q&A today. I'm not going to even be able to answer that as well as my partners, Annie and Evo, who know the system inside and out. And that's going to be a longer question. So
well, I can take that, because I think that's more of a process question than anything. And that comes down to, it just comes down to sales, dude. Tell me what you think on this. But I know that there are studies that have shown, and these are like Fortune 500 companies like Pepsi, Coke, other Frito-Lays, they'll let you know that they have KPIs for their conversion in terms of how many times a person needs to see a commercial in order for them to even consider doing business with this particular company and then moving forward. So for us, our go-to number has always been, we're going to rehash a list a minimum of 8 times. That doesn't mean, Michael, that it has to be back to back to back to back to back to back to back.
don't do it more than 3 weeks at a time.
Well, there you go. So you have even more greater detail on that. But unless it's been hit 8 times, I still feel like there's juice in that list. Now, here's another thought on top of that, Michael, if you want to get even more granular, and that's that you can ask a group of 100 people, how many of you answer every single phone call whenever it comes in, even if you don't know the number? How many of you answer or listen to your voicemail, your voice messages, or are you the type of person that waits till it gets full just so that you can empty it again? How many of you check every single text message? And how many of you would rather get, I don't know, call billboards, right? And so you're going to get groups of people in a group of 100, right? And so why not have a process for a minimum amount of times you're going to rehash the list cold calling? And then from there, anyone who has not answered the phone at all, because out of a list of 1,000, you're going to have a handful of people who just have never answered the phone. And the worst thing for a wholesaler or investor is a I don't know. Because a no is, okay, good. Now I know I'll never call you again. Thank you. And I'm still going to call you in a year or two, okay?
We're still going to call them in next quarter.
Exactly. A yes, even better. A maybe in terms of, hey, I want to right now, but I can't. At least I have a follow-up date. The worst thing you can do to me is just not answer my call, because I don't know if you're $100,000 deal. I don't know if you're a $60,000 deal. You know what I mean? So all of those individuals that you've rehashed, let's say a minimum of 5 times on that list cold calling, why not upload those into your SMS blast and then now SMS blast those and then run those a couple times. And then after running those, you're going to have a list maybe of a handful that still haven't answered. Why not run those through your RVM, or why not run those through another marketing campaign?
And then cycle it again, but just have a process.
Exactly.
We had an omni-channel process of, we would start with cold calling. Then those that didn't answer, the next week we do text, the next week we do RVM, and then we would cycle it month after month. And then after like 3 months, then we put it into a big bucket. And then that's something that we're just touching on like once every 2-3 months. So we had a whole entire process.
Best part about this question is that there's not a right or wrong answer here.
Correct.
And the reason why is because I interviewed Brent Daniels, and Brent straight up tells me, someone asked this question in the group, and he said, we hit the list twice and then we trash it. And I was adamantly disagreeing with him. And this is like the legend TTP, right? And I'm like, you are wrong, bro. I know you hit it way more than 2 times. And he's like, no, I don't in my business. And then he had a very solid reason as to why, because of the volume that they do.
So it depends.
Right. And so, like you said, just have a process for your company, set that up, make sure you follow it, be consistent with it.
Yeah, I love that. Powerful. So that's good. That's good right there. Did you have another question, or
no, that's it. But Christian did ask if I buy from wholesalers. The answer is yes. Just PM me.
I do too.
Awesome.
Phoenix.
Robert Glenn Morrell says, how did you change your mind from 9 to 5 to wholesale and creative finance?
My dad said adjust the camera.
Oh. Here. Oh, I'm connected. Sorry, Pops. That ain't happening.
I think it looks okay.
Yeah, it doesn't look too
It
bad.
doesn't look bad.
Yeah, it's
No, we're good.
It doesn't look too bad. All right, so y'all gonna have to suck it up.
All right.
All right, so how did you change your mind from 9 to 5 to wholesale and creative finance? So, Robert, does that question mean what's the difference between an employee 9 to 5 mindset and an entrepreneur who's wholesaling and doing creative finance mindset? Or how did you convince yourself to do it? What does that question mean?
I think he's just saying, how did we change our mindsets when we became an entrepreneur? I mean,
yeah, that's what it sounded like to me too.
I mean, for me personally, it was easy because I felt like I was always an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
Same.
And I found freedom. And then I put the pressure on myself to maintain the freedom. That's it.
Mm.
I mean, I don't think you don't have to go into great detail about that aspect of it, because that is something that internally you have to find a way to motivate yourself that you're never going to go back to the 9 to 5.
Yep. Yeah.
So for me, it was, I always had a side hustle. I just always wanted to have a business. My grandpa owned a business. My father owned a business. So that's something I always looked up to do. And I was lucky enough to be like, I wasn't told you have to get a 9 to 5. You have to get a 9 to 5. My parents didn't care what I did. They just wanted me to be happy. So if that was me trying to do something on my own, they're supportive. If I wanted to go get some great job and move up a corporate ladder, they would have been supportive. But it was never in my DNA. I always got fired because I would come up with an idea and talk to a manager and be like, dude, this is a more efficient way. Well, that's not the way we do it. But nope, that's not the way we do it. And I'm like, what the hell? And then I get fired, or something like that. And I mean, dude, I used to sell beer pong shirts on eBay. Then, I got a little sketchy and was buying fake True Religion and 7 jeans from China and sold them on eBay. Got banned for life from eBay. Shout out to eBay. Sucks. They won't let me back on. But I always was trying to, find a hustle. And then I was lucky enough my friend Danielle that we worked at a restaurant together with, she got into real estate in 2012. And she worked with an investor that was doing property management / flipping. And he was basically wholesaling homes too before it was really wholesaling. He'd get stuff at auction, sell it to a friend, put it in a rental portfolio and manage their property. Mm. And my job was to I was an acquisition rep. That's back when I started in 2014, when you could do, you could still find short sales and pre-foreclosures on the MLS. So literally all I did was I had to learn how much it costs to rehab a house, what a nice house looked like, how much to buy a shitty one for. So that's pretty much an underwriter / acquisition rep my first year. And I was just hooked. I was like, dang, this is dope. And I saw all the money he was making. I'm like, I'm not an employee. So I was like, I want to go do what you're doing. And I got my license and then started selling them deals. And then soon after, I hated traditional real estate and the market dried up here for that stuff. And that's when we learned about Sean Terry and wholesaling, and the rest is kind of history now.
I love it.
Can I ask the next question? Because I
Sure.
see something on here and I got to get this off my chest.
Go
That
ahead.
happened. Okay.
Cool.
Kim says, how to start and stay motivated without a budget. I'm working manually, so it's been a slow grind so far. Okay. Couple months ago, we did some webinar series during COVID. This question came up. Jesse dropped a beautiful gem. So real quick, drop that, and then I want to go on my rant about this.
So what I said was so this is for no budget. No budget. So no budget. This is actually my favorite thing. So I tell people to do this all the time. If there is a will, there's a way.
Yep.
So what you do is you call any big wholesaler in the area and say, let me call all of your dead leads. Anything I contract, we could split 50-50. And they'll probably help you sell it too. You can negotiate whatever you want, but I've had people come to me. I'll let RJ elaborate further on that. But so it's literally just start calling people, networking, and find a way to call someone's old leads or dead leads or something that they're not working on. I know a lot of people would happily if you could dig out an old lead, and that's going to sharpen your craft. If you could get a deal out of stuff that wasn't deals, then you're well on your way to becoming successful in real estate.
Powerful.
Okay. Funny enough, my rant is messaging me right now. Okay. So Jesse brings up this great point of it's a slow grind. You got no budget. Reach out to someone, find a way to JV, right? You JV deals, right?
Yep.
I JV deals. We make a lot of money. This is a beautiful part of this, okay? We fly out yesterday morning. I wake up at 4:30, 5 o'clock, land, turn on my phone. When I land in Phoenix, I got all these messages, notifications, outdask, all over the place, right? I have like 5 Facebook messages. Someone who had reached out to me the other day and asked me if I was a buyer in Dallas says, I've got a deal. I said, thank you for sending this over to me. I just landed in Phoenix. I'll get back to you later. About 15 minutes later, have you had a chance to review my property? No. I'm just now getting off the plane. I'm so sorry, but I just got done. Like literally, I messaged you before anybody that I just landed.
Yeah.
About 30 minutes later, have you had a chance to look at my property? One of the other messages was a gentleman said, I'm looking to buy a property in this area. Like he just messaged me out of the blue and said, do you have any properties? So I messaged this person who's blowing me up, highly motivated to sell this property. And I said, I have someone that's looking for a property right now. Do you want to just co-wholesale it? I send the address, the price, everything to this guy. And I said, hey, someone just sent this to me. I'm asking if they want a JV. I don't know yet. He's like, when can I go see it? She says, not interested in JVing. I said, so do you want me to tell my buyer who's ready to go right now, you're not interested in selling it? Right now, yes. Now, this person was so motivated, they had to hit me up 3 or 4 times in an hour when I just said I just got off the damn airplane. I'm not about to sit down and run comps and do all this. But I didn't take the time out and say, hey, but I do see a way that I can make some magic happen here. And the answer is no. This is what kills me about people that live in this scarcity mindset.
Yep.
I am telling you right now, I've never reached out to a buyer that often, that quickly. But if I was that motivated, and I asked her today, I said, you seemed very motivated to sell this property. She just messaged me just now. I am very motivated, but I don't want to JV this. I thought you would be the end buyer. I'm in Phoenix. I'm not going to go look at a property in Dallas, especially not one that I might make $30,000 on. That's my rant.
Yeah.
Don't be that guy. Don't be it.
Yep. And it's not to say, y'all, that you have to give up all of your equity on these deals wholesaling. But the fact of the matter is, you know, I think as you start running a business and actually trying to turn it into a business, you start seeing that there's a strong correlation between the money you make and the time you spend on that deal, right? Or the time that you're actually putting in and the energy that you're putting in.
Bro, all she had to do is say, it's a tight deal. I'm only making X amount of dollars. If you want to make something, add your fee on top.
That's all she had to say.
Because guess what my answer would have been? Y'all ready for this? I don't need a fee. Here's my buyer. Let y'all do the deal. But instead, I'm going to go sell a property. I'm going to keep 100% of the profits to this buyer because of the scarcity mindset.
Yeah.
That's the reason why. Because honestly, it's over. I'm not ever going to do business with her. Cut off.
Yep.
This is DFW, baby. There's 5 million wholesalers.
Yeah.
There's 5 million of you in my DMs sending me deals saying, please, RJ, buy this property. I don't need you. You needed me. Now it's over.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying, y'all. Like whenever you really start to look at the grand scheme of things, that may have been, you know, a $10, $20, $30, $40, $50,000 deal for whoever this wholesaler is. And that could have been a game changer. And that could be already at, you know, the assignment could already be at title and scheduled to close this coming up Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You know what I mean? So the amount of time you spend on something, the ease that you have to be able to run a deal. I mean, you know what I mean? It's you gotta weigh all that stuff out. And some of
I'm
those,
not trying to toot my own horn either, but there's a certain, when you have the opportunity to do a deal with someone who's done the amount of deals that we've done, you should jump at that opportunity no matter what. For example, I am not a big dog in Phoenix, Arizona. I can't wait until I get to do a deal with Jesse or a deal with Jamil or a deal with Pace. I can't wait to see how they flow through the deal, how they do it. Because once you do a deal, you're way past the dating stage. Now it's like we've done business together. We broke bread. That's an opportunity that also was passed by. And it's something that you can't ever underestimate the power of that. You never know what the next deal is going to look like when you do that.
Yeah.
Like we have a huge buyers list in our wholesale operation, and we still JV and sell houses with Keegley. Jamil, shout out to you and Josiah and your company.
Mm-hmm.
But they have buyers that we don't have. Like we will happily, and even if we can make more, and like so Annie, for example, my partner who runs the wholesale side or did, she would sometimes she would vet out both buyers, and if she was sketched out about our buyer, she'd be like, Jamil, is this how many properties has this person bought from you? 10. Okay, we'll take less money. We want to get this sold. You make your money, we make ours. We're good to go. It's about that scarcity mindset has to go away. There's still too many people in wholesale that have it. We try and spread that word that abundance, collaboration, working together. It's about the long-term vision. It's not about that deal. It's about all the deals.
Mm-hmm.
So real talk, that buyer might be watching this video right now because he just messaged me and said, hey, man, don't worry about the house anymore. I bought a house from someone else today. Case in point, buyers don't need the wholesaler. Wholesalers need the buyer.
Yep.
If you approach it with that mindset, you will understand the importance of taking care of your buyer. That's what makes Jamil so great.
Yep.
The customer service, the building, the love that he pours into his buyers.
Mm-hmm. Correct. Powerful, powerful.
That's
I hope
cool.
y'all are taking notes.
Next question.
All right. Next question that we have here is, let's see. This is from, let's see. Here's one right here. This is from Louisville, Kentucky.
Shout out. I flipped houses there, actually.
The man, Paul himself. He's one of the superhumans.
Love it.
And this is what he asked. He wants to know. Let me see if I can understand this question. He wants to know what are some of the main reasons you see most new wholesalers fail in this business?
Mirror you first.
Go ahead.
Aaron, you go first. I want to process this question.
All right. So one of the biggest reasons I see, and I feel like I have a measure of authority to speak on this because over the past 6 months, I have had the privilege of having well over 250 new wholesalers that either have not done a deal or have only done a handful of deals come through the Superhuman campaign. And I've met with them individually. I've met with them in small, intimate groups. I've met with them multiple times a week for weeks on end, some of them months on end. And the recurring theme that I personally see, and I'm excited to hear y'all's perspective as well. The recurring theme that I see is, I hate for this, Paul, to be an underwhelming statement, literally not doing the business. It's just not doing the stuff. But there's also another aspect to that. It's if you are doing stuff, you're not doing the stuff. So as a new wholesaler, marketing is your number one main priority. There is nothing else that matters as much as getting on the phone and calling sellers, getting on the computer and texting sellers, getting in the street and knocking on doors and talking to sellers. Marketing is the most important thing. And so they're just not doing it enough, or they're doing stuff, but they're not doing the stuff. They're spending time building LLCs and creating logos and watching this
Getting
when they
business
should be
cards.
getting business cards, doing stuff that's not going to result in getting to the next step of the process. That's the biggest reason I see.
So I want to compound on top of that. Consistency, I think, is the biggest thing. That's kind of what you touched on. But you're saying marketing. I'm gonna frame it a little bit differently, but I think we're saying the same thing. It's getting in front of sellers, talking to sellers. If it's if it is marketing, but if it's door knocking, or if it's networking, or if it's networking to call people's old leads, it's just talking to sellers. Or let's use Brent. Plug to Brent Daniels. Talk to people. He's Mr. TTP.
Yep.
That's what they're not doing. They're finding every reason not to talk to a seller because they're scared. And I promise you, I was scared. RJ was scared. RJ probably wasn't scared, actually. But you're going to be scared. You're going to be uncomfortable. You're going to have to get through that no matter what. You might as well just get through it right away. Start getting more comfortable. And then the more people you talk to, you fail fast, you fail forward, and deals will start to happen.
Yep.
Lack of consistent marketing, unwillingness to fail forward, and always passing the blame on to someone else. Those are the top 3 reasons why I think most wholesalers fail. I see it time and time again. I just had a notary show up at our office in Texas. We're closing a flip in Hawaii. She comes in. She literally goes, "Is that you on your television?" I was watching myself on YouTube. and I was like, yeah. And she goes, "Wow, this is so cool. So you owned a house in Hawaii?" I said, "Yeah, we flip houses across the country." She says, "That's so amazing. How should I get started in flipping houses?" I said, "You should wholesale. That's where you should start." And she said, "I tried that. I wasn't any good at it." I said, "What do you mean?" And she said, "I cold called for 9 months and I never got one deal." Did you ever take any training on cold calling? No. Did you ever try to get better at cold calling? Did you try any other marketing besides cold calling? SMS, door knocking, direct mail? No. This is the problem. Like, she just sat down. She did the same thing every day. She didn't try to get better. And eventually she just said, "I'm not good at this, so I'm just going to stop."
Well, she's not, but she never took the steps to learn how to do it properly either.
Mm-hmm.
And that's on her. And that maybe isn't the right person to be an entrepreneur either, because that's literally the definition of insanity, is doing the same thing over and over again and not getting a different result. So not everybody is meant to do this. Not everybody's meant to be an entrepreneur. And I hate to say it to you guys that are watching, but not all of you are meant for this. And I'm happy you tried. And maybe another part of entrepreneurship journey, but this is not easy. But if you're willing to learn, if you're willing to be consistent, and you don't even have to be that talented, it's those first 2 things, you'll be successful.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the reason why I appreciate having this data that I have now working with all of the superhumans is because it's so easy for somebody to say and answer an RJ bait question, right? Such as, have you, how long were you trying for? She says 9 months. I would almost venture to say that 9 months, she maybe tried a handful of times. She probably called a few people at a time, got a couple rejections, and got scared of the phone. And it just took her 9 months to quit. But she's
a notary. She's a licensed realtor.
Yeah.
She tried to. It's the endless search. She didn't buy in.
Exactly.
When I decided I was going to wholesale, it was, I'm a wholesaler. Cassie, we're not a contractor anymore. We're never selling another job again. We are going to do this, and we're not going to fail.
And I see this all the time. I see people who are saying, "Well, I'm day trading, but I'm also I have my 9 to 5
Forex.
I'm doing and then on top of that, I'm getting my license as a realtor. I'm also learning from such and such how to do subject to. I just purchased this course on building a business, and then but I haven't got a wholesale deal, and I'm just so confused as to why. And then talk to me about what you've been doing. I purchased a list for this city in this state, and this city in this state, and this city in this state, and none of them have been working. How long have you been doing this? I've been doing this for a whole month, and I'm just, It's like a dog trying to chase 6 rabbits. You're not gonna have any, right? You focus on one rabbit, you catch that rabbit, you eat that rabbit, you grow strong, and then you go on to the next one.
And I love what you just said, because people are probably watching this going, but wait, guys, y'all are sitting here doing a live video for all of us. You're not sitting there staying laser focused on your businesses, right? Here's an insight on what we did earlier today. I saw you on the phone with sellers. I saw you on the phone with buyers. I was on the phone with sellers, buyers, working deals, sending out contracts, making offers. This was really happening. You have some videos of it on our IGs, right? Of us working inside the batch office. We didn't stop during lunch.
Mm-hmm.
We were literally writing up contracts and doing stuff while we're eating. This is our lunch break. While everybody else was sitting around talking about whatever it is that you talk about, we were actually doing deals. And now our lunch break is to come in and do this.
Yep.
That's the difference of what we're talking about. Laser focused on what our mission is. And right now, all of our missions, mine and his, real estate, his is batch, which you can actually talk about that a little bit, because you've recently made that decision to become laser focused on batch.
Yeah.
That was kind of a tough decision for you.
Yeah. June was our last month of wholesaling.
Yeah.
We made that decision because I kind of alluded to our responsibility to make sure that we're giving the best products and services. And we also, we're still doing real estate. We just, we kind of, I'll call it graduated to, we're building a 60-unit apartment complex. I am also building 22 single-family homes in South Phoenix. We have 49 manufactured homes going up. And it's just, I'm blessed what wholesale gave me. But those are the things that we're focused on now. And I just can't be great at everything. And that was the least, and we were very successful, but that was more effort with less money.
Well, you can't be great at everything.
No.
So we shouldn't try to be the sub 2 master while being the TTP master, while being the new development master, and being the greatest landlord in the world, right?
Correct.
Okay.
That is my biggest pet peeve in the entire industry. I absolutely hate seeing it.
You know what that was? That was 2019 RJ.
Mm-hmm.
2019 RJ decided he wanted to go do everything.
That was us. Like a year or so ago, we were doing so many different things, and then it was hard to be great at anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2019 was awful. Awful. Y'all think 2020 is bad. You should go live RJ's 2019.
I love it. Chris Aliman, can we blitz through this? Chris Aliman asked this question: what resources have you found most helpful as a wholesaler?
Batches. Pretty powerful resource.
Yeah.
We're wearing their shirts in their office.
Yeah.
Using their tools.
I think having a good CRM is powerful as well.
Yep.
I also think having one mentor, especially when you're new, is I'm gonna use golf as an analogy because I used to be a golfer when I wasn't fat. So every single PGA pro have one swing coach. You don't have 6 different swing coaches or gurus that they're going to, because each person has a different philosophy.
Yep.
Their philosophy may get you there, but if you're using a part of every single person's philosophy, it's most likely not going to get you anywhere, because you're taking a little bit from everybody. I think you find the right person that you feel like you fit with personality-wise to mentor you, and you stay laser focused on trusting the process, on having them get you to wherever they're supposed to get you to.
I love that.
Powerful. And then he mentioned the court records. Court records is an incredible place to be able to get some of the hottest lists. Having an app, that way you can drive for dollars. Having a realtor. And by the way, if y'all haven't checked out Go Knock, that is a crazy app, and we're actually starting to use that this coming up week.
Promo code Titanium coming soon.
There's no promo codes.
All right. So here's let's take a couple more questions before we get off this.
Yeah, I am hot in here,
right,
bro.
Let's see here. if you have to use 3 types of marketing strategies for wholesalers, what would you put as your 3 types of marketing strategies in your budget?
Well, I could tell you firsthand, we did cold call, RVM, and text messaging for the simple fact that that's omni-channel marketing. Most expensive thing that you buy is the skip tracing. So now that you have the skip tracing, we're using it for 3 different ways, and that actually blends your cost now. So you could actually think of it as each marketing channel, your skip tracing, you're paying for 1/3 of your skip tracing. So your cost per teal goes down. And as we alluded to or talked about earlier, then you're able to put together a whole entire strategy on how you're going to like put together your campaigns. I know a lot of people do PPC, Facebook, mail, but that's what we did. And we were laser focused on that. And we were $1 million wholesale operation year after year after year.
Powerful.
SMS, cold calling, direct mail.
Love it. For me, it's SMS, cold calling, door knocking. And if you ask me why door knocking, it's because it's less expensive and it's probably the highest quality touch that you can get. But the reason why I think a lot of people won't do it or can't do it, it's just because it's scary. But I mean, if you have somebody who's skilled enough to do it, the amount of money you're going to spend doing it compared to the reward is insane. We just started officially started our door knocking team this past Monday. And I actually cut my teeth in door knocking sales. That's where I learned sales was door to door.
So did we.
No way.
Yeah.
Respect.
Not me. Sorry, guys.
So we started our door knocking team officially this past Monday. We got our first contract yesterday, assigned this past this morning when we were doing this work here in the office. Got it assigned $15,000 assignment fee.
Nice.
Boom. So door knocking, here's my question for you, because a lot of people don't know how to set up a door knocking operation. Are you just paying people commission only?
No, right. So right now, yes, right now it's commission only. We have every intention of turning to a salary commission arrangement, but right now the individual that we have is 100% commission.
And what percentage are you paying him of the deal?
We're paying him 20%.
So a lot of people are 20 to 25%. But if you set up a good team, I think that's actually a good way to do it because it doesn't cost you any money. If you use GoKnock, you could track them. You could have teams, all the stuff that launches Monday. I think it's open right now for people to be able to sign up, but it officially launches on Monday because the app's all up and going. I think we already have 200 users on there. But it's a great way that doesn't cost you money. You just have to make sure that they believe in you, that you're telling them to go to the right places. Mm-hmm. And it's your job to train them to make sure they could get deals. I think it's great. I know Pace does it. I know a lot of people. Don Costa was super successful in it. You guys, that talk about like the best way. Like GoKnock will literally show you in your market all the pre-foreclosures. It will show you all the absentee owners. It will show you the tax default owners. And you can literally go knock the doors. And while you're knocking those doors, it will route you those doors. And while you're doing that, if you see an ugly house, you could drive for dollars, skip trace them, call them while you're going to the next house. Like, it's a powerful tool, but it costs like $50 a month for the base plan.
Yeah,
it's dope.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Let's get one more. Let's get one more question. Let's see. Let's talk to. All right, so this question, that's not a question. That is Chris Jackson says, I don't know what buyers and time you on, but buyers get fired around here. I'm the boss. Chris Jackson, thank you for your observation. And let's see how that mindset fares as this turns into a full-on buyer's market, because this is just that's just an interesting.
Chris Jackson is an experienced wholesaler. Chris Jackson sends me a deal, and if I say, hey, I got a buyer, Chris Jackson, if he knows he doesn't have a buyer, he's going to JV the deal with me, or he's going to go sell it to somebody else. This other person is a newer person. Chris Jackson ain't going to hit me up 5 times in 30 minutes. So that's why he's saying it. I've done business with him.
And I appreciate it. I mean, I have the same mindset as well. You just got to be careful because there's the majority of people who watch this have never done a wholesale deal before, right? So while the wholesaler with the contract is in control, I even did I did like a 2-hour buyer's list thing, you know, live, right? And we talked about this. However, I just want to clarify something. My only beef with this statement is this comes off as if Chris Jackson's statement, this comes off as if it's like a get with it or get lost sort of mentality. And I understand that as well. But as wholesalers, the customer is the seller, but the client or returning person is the buyer. And so there still has to be a measure of attitude of servitude, going out of our way, doing the best that we can to take care of our buyers without allowing them to walk all over us.
Who writes your check?
The
Who
buyer
writes
does.
your check, Chris? You got to think about it. At the end of the day, it's always going to be the cash buyer. Even though you might be firing some of them, eventually, without a cash buyer, you never get a check.
100%. So let's do this. We got to wrap up. Time is definitely escaping us. What closing advice would y'all have for newer to intermediate wholesalers, investors in the game that they're right now in the middle of probably one of the most difficult times that the country has ever seen, socially, economically, and they're discouraged and they don't know if they can make it? What advice would they believe that they can, but they don't know right now?
It's just like anything else we do in this business. Reverse engineer what I just said earlier. Why do people fail? Right? So pick marketing, be consistent with it, stick with it. That is the ultimate key to every person I've ever interviewed on my podcast that has success. Has been they found a form of marketing and they were consistent with it. Over and over and over again, that's what I hear. Just like Jesse just said, we're $1 million company because we're laser focused on SMS, RVMs, and cold calling. Okay, so do that. Next, don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid when you screw up. You contract to something too high. Your cash buyer says you're an idiot for sending out at the wrong price. You have to drop a contract. None of that matters, okay? Go out there, make the mistakes, learn, get better every day. And then first, the most important part of it is just make sure you take massive action and just don't sit there and watch Earon Bevans on live all day, every day. Make sure you go do something too, okay?
Take action. I love it. Jesse, what advice would you have?
You pretty much just said everything that I wanted to say. But I would say squat up. So I would say if you're new, find people in your area to partner with, door knock with, go do stuff with, but make sure that you're consistent. My two things were squat up and consistency.
Yep.
That's with marketing. That's with mindset. That's with if you want to read 10 pages of a book every day, be consistent, make sure you market, and make sure you squat up, because doing this by yourself is a lonely road. If you don't have business partners, squatting up is by far the best thing you could do. You guys are getting wins together. We knocked 20 doors each today together. That's in accountability, kind of like your group. I think those are the ways, those are the steps that you take to become successful.
I love it. And my advice to you would be
reach one, each one.
Each one, reach one. Yeah, each one, teach one. I would say understand that the negative feelings that you have are never going away. The feelings of, I wonder if I can do this, are never going to go away so long as you're continuing to progress in life. So be okay with feeling the discomfort and the fear, and then doing the thing anyway. Do the thing anyway. And drown out all of the negative feelings that you have with consistent, relentless action. All right?
I'm going to go turn this off now.
I think you could turn it off from right here, yeah?
No,
Are you on StreamYard? No.
No, because we're on over there.
All right, y'all. Appreciate you. Peace.
Much love to
Thanks,
everybody
guys.
who's on here. Deuces.